am going to draw your attention up here, if that's okay, and we're going to get started while everybody finishes up their last few bites. Oh, and I hope everybody takes the time to look at that adorable baby over there. Oh, okay, sorry. So good evening, my name is Jenny Tebow, and I would like to welcome you to our 8th annual Shout Out to Parents. We are all so very glad that you are here. It's wonderful to see so many people. We hope you had a fabulous meal. Here at CADY, we believe that parents are their children's first and most important teachers, and that's why we are celebrating each of you tonight during National Parents Involvement Month. We are also celebrating grandparents, as you are parents as well and are very influential in your grandchildren's lives. We are so excited to have Pam Garamone with us tonight as our keynote speaker, who you will hear from shortly. Maybe Liz should be doing this second. I don't know, hold on. I may be married to a tech guy, but that does not mean that I am a tech guy. That was turned off, there you go. Maybe we'll get there. So, for our thank yous, we would like to extend our deep appreciation to Spear Memorial Hospital and our grantors, DHHS, the New Hampshire Bureau of Drug and Alcohol Services, and SAMHSA for making this special event possible, as well as all those who have donated to tonight's event. We are so grateful for your generosity. Thank you. All right, so before we begin the real program, let's do a poll, a parent talk poll, to see who is in the audience tonight. So if you want to participate, you can either scan the QR on the screen, if you can use your phone, but then it is also on your table. So some of these questions are, are you the parent, grandparent, what ages, region you live in, and it's really cool to see how it ends up being. Oh look, people are already going. There you go, isn't this awesome? It's not a surprise that at the parent night that parents are in the lead. Does anybody need any more time? Oh, okay. Sorry, not rushing, I promise. Well, maybe rushing.
You're not the only one IT challenged.
Yeah. My problem is when somebody texts me a picture of the QR code and they're like, oh yeah, just use that. And I'm like, is there a feature? Because now I can't take a picture of it with my phone. I think there's a feature for that, so I don't know. There has to be. Yeah, it's a head scratcher. Look at that, we even have some carrots here.
Would either of you ladies like to give
No, take it away.
I mean, that brownie has your name.
No, I'm not.
I was going to say, we have to have at least one person here who chose between 0 and 5, because we have one.
Oh, wait. Pick more than one?
I think you can. There's some that has.
I would say.
All in a bowl, maybe not the one.
So I'll do 6 and 6.
I'm glad that it's the what ages are your children in your life instead of what age are you, because I've advanced into the above the 40, and all of a sudden it's not like the 30 to 39. You have to choose the next age block, and that's painful. That's painful. All right.
It doesn't let you pick multiples if you have.
Oh.
What do you do? Choose all but one.
We each
So
start off.
apparently it didn't let you choose if you had more than one child. So I guess everybody just chose their favorite.
Just kidding, we don't do that.
No.
We don't do that. Choose the one that needs the most help.
I like to joke that I don't have favorites among my children, but my friends' kids, I definitely have favorites there. All right, so now for what region do you live in? This is going to be interesting. There we go. All right, cool. Usually Pemmy Baker is the winner for that, just because Pemmy Baker is Plymouth, but I know we have at least a couple right there. An excellent couple from Newfound. Newfound is lucky because they have the Tapley Thompson Community Center, which is an amazing place and has a lot of really great programs for anyone who lives over there. All right, so what worries you the most about raising kids today? So the options were youth mental health, stress, anxiety, depression, the friends they chose, bullying, drugs and alcohol, health and safety, or other, which can sometimes do a lot. Yeah? And was this another one where you could only choose one? Oh, this one was a multiple? Okay. I forgot to bring my phone.
I only chose one.
All right, how New Hampshire are you? My table would joke that you're super New Hampshire if you know me. Or at least that's how Plymouth you are. So the answers were, I've lived in New Hampshire my whole life. I moved to New Hampshire because of school, marriage, job, or other. I was born in New Hampshire but left for school or job. And then family, but I have returned. Or family that I've returned. Now I guess the real question is, raise your hand if you went to Plymouth High. See, now we don't need to go to the reunion. We're all done.
I just say a chair.
All right, what time of day are you most productive? We had early bird, first thing in the morning. Night owl, I thrive in darkness. Or midday magpie, I'm good between 11 and 1, and I run on coffee. I'm not gonna lie, I'm surprised that one's not getting more votes. Oh, here we go. And then watch it just shoot.
I feel like there needs to be more than 3 options.
And then our last slide is, in one word, how would you describe happiness? Or is it still thinking? Did this one work for you guys?
No.
That's okay, I'll give you the definition. Kidding. Oh, sad.
Well, that's very sad.
Alright.
I guess it's just indescribable.
Connection lost. Alright, love it. It's indescribable. Does anybody want to share?
Does anybody want to share their favorite word for describing happiness? Coffee.
That was a grandparent.
Yeah, that was a grandparent who said that one.
Baseball.
Baseball. Sleep. Naps. I'm here for that. I was actually late to work this morning because
Oh, it just came up.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Well, it's done words.
Alright, well, that's fine. Alright, so this is my favorite slide for the next one, which is the Parent Advisory Council. So I would like to acknowledge some very special people. It is odd doing this slide because I am one of the members, but we are so grateful to work with an incredible group of passionate and dedicated parents. The Central Region Parent Advisory Council meets every other month to discuss relevant parenting issues and implement solutions. We meet with Liz, and it really is a very good time. If it's something that you're interested in, this is off book. If it's something that you're interested in, please reach out because it really is enjoyable to help CADY. Every year, the PAC creates an initiative that brings information, connections, and resources to the parents of our community. This very event was the first initiative of the Parent Advisory Council. It is an honor to work with this amazing team. So would all PAC leaders, past and present, so basically if you get the email, please stand to be recognized. But again, you could be standing next year if you joined our wonderful group. All right. So on your table, you're going to find a packet of information with a plethora of resources inside. To name a few, there's information on the PAC flyer, keys to youth wellness and safety, what's your message quiz, and then the November Parent Advisory newsletter. We have a Facebook, the Central New Hampshire Parent Facebook group, so please join that next time you're on Facebook, and there's tons of great resources, and that's for all 3 regions, Lincoln, Woodstock, Newfound, and Plymouth. There is also, you can read the newsletter electronically, and then also join that Facebook group by scanning the QR code in the corner of the newsletter. So please take the time to look over the resources in your packet. There's a lot of really great pieces of information there. Also, please visit the CADY resource table, and you can meet CADY's interns and volunteers and get lots of education. And then they have some take-home prevention resources, which are incredibly helpful, and you'll be hearing about them later this evening. So at the end of the evening, on your table, there is a feedback piece of paper. So at the end of the evening, we'll be asking for your feedback. There's a hard copy on the table, and as well as you can do a QR code if you'd rather fill it out electronically. And we do thank you in advance for helping us inform future programming. Now, I would like to invite CADY's Senior Director of Operations, Liz Brochu, up to talk a bit about CADY.
She's so great. It's always so hard to follow her.
Also, I didn't have to write any of that. Liz wrote it all for me, and that's why I was
All right. So, I have the great privilege to talk a little bit about CADY right now. So, first, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I think that we all need a little happiness. We all need a little joy. And I think that this group of people right now is the group to have in this room. So I'm super excited. So I'd like to share a little bit about CADY. So we're a nonprofit organization in our 25th year of operation and the lead agency for the Central New Hampshire Public Health Network, which serves Pennybaker, Newfound, and Linwood regions. So we really utilize a strength-based approach to preventing and reducing youth substance misuse and building promising futures for children. Our priority is to protect our children by stopping the substance misuse problem before it starts, by building protective factors and reducing risk factors to prevent addiction and save lives. Our mission is to empower healthy choices, drug-free lifestyles, and promising futures through collaboration with our community partners, high-impact educational programming across the lifespan, and engagement with our youth and families. So our vision is collaborative, caring communities where youth are mentally strong, resilient, and substance-free. Right. Yeah, that's our vision. Prevention begins with awareness, all right? So if perception of risk of drug use is low, then the inverse relationship exists. with youth more likely to make high-risk choices involving alcohol and drugs. So, tonight, we really want to raise that awareness, all right? So this slide outlines 8 risk factors that we need to raise awareness about in perception of risk. So youth prescription medication misuse and the distribution of it, the access, is very big. It's a big risk in our community. Fentanyl and xylazine in forms of fake pills. So the fentanyl and xylazine is more powerful, they're more powerful and deadly than heroin alone. Vaping and smokeless nicotine products. We're seeing a lot more coming on the scene now. There is now a Zyn pouch or patch that goes into their mouths. So that's a smokeless nicotine way to bring on nicotine. And also the new smart vapes. This is very new. You have this resource in your packet on your table right now. This is something we're going to talk a little bit more. I'm going to highlight in the PowerPoint. Another big thing, high risk factor, is high potency THC. And concentrates of waxes and dabs and butter and all types of different forms with high potency THC. This is not the THC, the marijuana of the 60s or even the early 2000s, right? The late 1900s, do we hear that now? Late 1900s? That's when we were born, right? Anyone born here in the 2000s? Maybe that corner over there? Yeah, okay. But, so we're in good company. So it's not the same drug. It's a total different drug now. High potency THC, we have to keep our minds and eyes wide open about that. Underage high risk binge drinking. It's not just binge drinking anymore, it's high intensity drinking, and that is a higher rate of binge drinking. And the use of methamphetamine is happening. It's on the rise in our community, so this is a great concern. And on top of everything else, I love how I'm the one that's delivering the bummer information in a happiness event. So I am so sorry, bear with me. But the mental health issues that we're experiencing right now with our kids. So it's all this information is available on the resource table and in your packets. I don't want to go over all of this stuff because I know it's so much fun. We're going to just highlight a couple of them. So children cannot eat what they cannot find, right? I was just talking at the table that my oldest daughter actually climbed up onto the counter to get her Halloween candy that we thought was a good spot above the stove. So that was a little high risk, I would say, that we should have thought that she was going to find that. So that was interesting. So the non-medical use of prescription drugs ranks second only to THC products, marijuana, as the most common form of drug misuse in America. So most teens misusing prescription drugs get them from family or friends, as well as the home medicine cabinet. So it's really important to keep medication and potentially dangerous substances in a secure location and out of the hands of children when they need it, and when they are needed, make sure that they're disposed of properly. There's 24/7 take back boxes in local PD departments. And these take-back boxes really prevent prescription drug diversion. All right. So, several years ago, the DEA issued a public safety alert warning Americans of alarming increase in availability of fake prescription pills, and many which are commonly misused by teens, including Oxycontin, Vicodin, Xanax, and Adderall. So the National One Pill Can Kill campaign was rolled out to raise awareness of the counterfeit pills that look just like the original medications that have been found to contain the fentanyl and methamphetamine. So they're laced with these deadly drugs. And more recently, an animal tranquilizer called the xylazine. All right, so we are seeing this in our communities right now, so just be aware. And you can see that this, just tip of the pencil, that very small dose of fentanyl, these tiny granules can be lethal. So keep your kids safe. It's important to talk to your kids about prescription drug safety and emphasize pills are only to be given to them by you, their doctor, or school nurse. All right, so smart vapes. This is brand new, very new to us as well. This is a CDC fact sheet that was just released this week. It's called smart vapes. So these smart vapes are being sold illegally right now in our country. So these vapes come in many different forms and generally have a digital display. And they have features like games, wallpaper, Bluetooth connectivity. So these are vapes. So it's like a smartphone with a vape. So there's more information. Again, you have this in your packet. This is raising awareness that we want to do tonight. So alcohol consumption has always been and remains the #1 public health concern for youth. Many people don't consider alcohol to be a drug. However, it is addictive and very harmful to the developing young brain. So to raise parental awareness, about 15 years ago, CADY launched a media campaign which includes this image. One of the easiest places to get beer is right next to the milk and in our own refrigerators. So when we have alcohol in the house, we need to keep it out of the hands of our youth. It's important to communicate your disapproval of underage drinking, and it's unsafe and it's illegal. And one easy strategy is to store alcohol in a separate refrigerator or a lock-in cabinet. All right, so this is one of my favorite videos. One of the most powerful protective factors against substance misuse is resiliency. Disappointment and stressors are inevitable. It's a natural part of life. So when we build resilience, or something my mom and I like to call the struggle muscle, we build kids up so life's challenges won't tear them down. So let's take a minute to watch this video that spotlights resilience.
Let's go, Dad. Let's get stuff going that secret path. Oh yes, funny Dad. Someone's in our secret path. This way. You'll slip. I won't fall. Maybe I will. That's okay, 'cause we all fall. That's my Dad. Let's go down this big old hill. Wee woo! Wee woo! Wee woo! Dinosaurs! I'm a stegosaurus.
It's one of my favorite videos. It's not new, it's been around, but this 4-year-old knows that a part of learning is falling down, and he knows that it's okay. When he was stuck, rather than asking for help, he morphed into Stuckosaurus. So life happens, and things don't always go our way. So if we role model resiliency, when we get stuck, our children will follow our lead. All right. So ultimately, we want to protect every child. And I'd like to say that all of our children are doing great and are as resilient as that young 4-year-old. But sadly, we know that's not the case. 2 years ago, U.S. Surgeon General Murthy issued an advisory on youth mental health, calling attention to the urgent public health crisis. He said mental health challenges in children, adolescents, and young adults are real and widespread. Even before the pandemic, an alarming number of young people struggled with feelings of hopelessness, depression, and thoughts of suicide, and rates have increased over the past decade. The pandemic's effect on their mental health has been devastating. We are seeing this in our own backyard, with many of our kids waiting in hospital ERs for very limited beds at Hampstead Hospital. This shortage of services makes primary prevention more important than ever. So the problems are very real and very scary. To begin to solve these problems, we need to know the why behind the struggle and the strife. And Surgeon General Murthy is speaking to one of our major contributing factors to the mental health crisis. So we're going to watch this video.
Turning now to an issue we have focused on for years, the impact of technology and screen time on our children. Every family grapples with it, and this morning, when it comes to social media, the Surgeon General is making a bold statement. In an op-ed in the New York Times, Dr. Vivek Murthy writes in part, "It is time to require a Surgeon General's warning label on social media platforms, stating that social media is associated with significant mental health harms for adolescents." It's a must-read for every parent, and the Surgeon General is our guest now exclusively. Dr. Murthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Savannah. Good to be with you today.
I think so many of us parents already feel overwhelmed by the demands of our smartphones and outmatched, frankly. What is your message this morning, and why do you think a warning label would actually work? I mean, we think of smoking labels, yet people still smoke.
Well, Savannah, I'm really glad you asked, and let me just first say, parents are struggling all over the country. I've spent time with thousands of parents over the last few years all over America, and the number one question they often ask me about is social media. They want to know, is this safe for my kids? How should I manage it? And what the data is telling us, Savannah, is not only have companies not demonstrated that their platforms are safe for kids, but there's growing evidence of harm. It shows us, in fact, that when adolescents spend more than 3 hours a day on social media, we're seeing an association with a doubling of risk of anxiety and depression symptoms. And the average amount of use per day among adolescents is nearly 5 hours. So that's deeply concerning to me, not just as Surgeon General, but as a parent myself. Now, a warning label would help parents to understand these risks. Many parents don't know that those risks exist. And we have data from tobacco warning labels that in fact tells us that they can be helpful in changing awareness and changing behavior. Keep in mind, when Congress authorized these labels for tobacco more than half a century ago, or nearly half a century ago, the smoking rate in America was above 40%. Today it's under 12%. That's an extraordinary amount of progress. Labels were a part of that effort.
Yeah, I was so struck by this particular paragraph. You say, there is no seatbelt for parents to click, no helmet to snap in place, no assurance that trusted experts have investigated and ensured that these platforms are safe for our kids. There are just parents and their children trying to figure it out on their own, pitted against some of the best product engineers and most well-resourced companies in the world. Some social media platforms have taken steps. Could they do much more, in your opinion?
They could do much more, Savannah. And what has happened over the last nearly 2 decades that social media has been around is truly unconscionable when it comes to the health of our kids. We have allowed these platforms to exist, to evolve, to proliferate, to really occupy so much space in our children's lives. And our kids themselves are telling us about the mental health impact. You know, I just finished a college tour where I spent time with young people all around our country, and they brought up social media in every engagement we had, talking about how it makes them feel worse about their body image, how it makes them feel worse about their lives as they're constantly comparing themselves to others. But here's the thing, Savannah, many of them say that they can't get off it because the platforms are often designed to maximize how much time our kids are spending on them, and despite the fact that many of them are experiencing harm.
Yeah.
That has to change. It's why last year I called on Congress to put in place safety standards like we did for cars and other products to make social media safer. It is not okay for us to put the entire burden of managing this on parents.
Yeah, I mean, the kids are already hooked. Frankly, parents are hooked too. It's not a fair fight. Okay, I have a 7 and 9-year-old, so I guess I'm asking for a friend. You have 6 and a 7-year-old. When do you think is the right age to give a smartphone, and when is the right age to allow social media?
Well, here's how we're approaching it for our kids. My kids are young, and we're starting to have these discussions actually among parents in our school as well. But I would delay the use of social media for kids until at least after middle school. I would also, if your children are on social media, I would create tech-free zones in their day to protect sleep, in-person interaction, and physical activity. That could look like not allowing technology at the dinner table when you're eating together. It could look like taking technology away 1 hour before bedtime and then giving it back to kids in the morning. But we need to do this. It's not easy, and trust me, I know this because many parents can come up to me and say, look, my child is saying to me that they're the only one not on social media and they don't want to be left out and they want an account. Well, this is why as parents, we need to start talking about this more openly, partnering with each other and helping one another. Because when we make pacts to actually enforce these kind of rules together, it's easier. And right now, too many parents are struggling alone, feeling ashamed, feeling like they're failing as parents, and not realizing that all of us are struggling with the same questions.
We are indeed. Well, Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy, we could talk for a long time about this. Hope we'll speak again about it. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Oh, I knew that was going to be a tough phrase to get up. All right. It is the most wonderful time of year. All right, so I just want to read this really quick and then we're going to wrap up. So, when little people are overwhelmed by big emotions, it's our job to share our calm, not join their chaos. So this is easier said than done, especially during difficult times and stress. Our kids are on an extreme ride. To support their mental health, it's important that we do not get on the roller coaster with them. All right, so we're gonna just skip that. So the best way to fight addiction is to prevent it from ever starting. So I want to thank all of you again for being here, being a problem solver, a caregiver, a disciplinarian, a cook, a chauffeur, and so much more. And most of all, thank you for raising tiny humans who will be tomorrow's leaders and problem solvers. Thank you for being here tonight and for being part of the solution and for doing the hard work and helping us with our mission, raising happy, healthy, and drug-free kids. So thank you. All right, so it is my distinct honor to introduce tonight's keynote speaker. Pam Garamone is an award-winning speaker who presents positive psychology, the science of happiness, to students, educators, and corporate and community employees. She is a former elementary school teacher, basketball and softball coach, and was the executive director of a nonprofit organization. Through professional training and meaningful personal practices, Pam has found the smallest changes make the biggest difference. You can truly become happier through the development of a new mindset and simple yet powerful exercises. Pam has shared her insights with thousands of stressed out and overburdened youth and adults who have learned that feeling happier is simple when you practice happiness habits. In addition to being an in-demand speaker, Pam is a positive psychology life coach and author of Be Happier. When she is not holding a microphone, she can be found playing ping pong, cornhole, listening to her favorite podcasts, and going on adventures with her family and friends. Please welcome Pam.
Moment here for a second.
Talk about a tough act to follow, jeez.
I have to do it.
Yeah, all right, so we are, so Hello, everyone. I'm super happy to be here with you tonight to talk about positive psychology, the science of happiness, or how to be happier, less stressed, and more resilient. Raise your hand if you'd like to be a tiny bit more of one of those. All right, yeah, you're in the right place. Yeah, so I kind of think about, as I talk this evening, that you listen wearing 3 different hats. So first, personally, I'm going to share with you some things you could choose to do that would make you happier. And the idea is to pick just one that resonates with you, that you're like, that makes sense to me, I'm going to try that out. If it makes you feel happier, the idea is to keep doing it until it becomes part of your identity. Just who you are and what you do. You wouldn't even think of not starting the day or starting the day not doing this thing. So the first hat is you. Second hat is in your personal relationships with your partner, wife, husband, kids, friends, no, not coworkers, we'll get to that one. So in your personal relationships. And see if there's something here that resonates with you that you want to now make part of the culture of your personal relationship or the relationships in your family, and you just do this as part of who you are as a family, as a couple, as a parent. And then lastly, at work, there might be something here that you want to try out at work with your coworkers, with your colleagues, with parents in the workplace, some work setting. And then it becomes part of the culture of the work setting. Now, raise your hand if you have heard the saying, knowledge is power. Has anybody heard that up here in New Hampshire? It's not true. Sorry to burst your bubble. Knowledge is not power, it's potential power. So if you hear these things that could make you happier in one of those 3 areas, but you never try them out, will you be any happier? This is not a trick question. No, right? We all know we should floss every day, but how many of us do? No one? Oh my God, all right, there's 3 people that got that message. All right, there's only one time where almost the whole set, it was like 500 people, and a whole section raised their hand. I was at a Voc Tech High School, guess what department it was? It's the only time more than 3 people raised their hand. We all know we should eat more veggies, but how many of us do? Oh, a few more, okay. We all know we should exercise 3 to, can I swear here? No,
Yes.
except for the little one. Do you think she'll know?
Your mom.
Okay, all right. We all know we should exercise 3 to 4 times a week, but how many of us do, right? So knowledge is not power, it's potential power. You want to listen for something to make sense to you and then actually try it out. And if it works, then keep doing it. If it doesn't, then just pick another one. And by the way, I can read minds in here. I know some people in here are saying, who the hell is this person? I don't have time to be happier. Doesn't she know how busy I am? I got kids, work, I have a wife, partner. All of the things I share with you take less than 5 minutes a day. So again, just pick one that resonates with you and give it a try. And if it works, keep doing it. Now, I always like to start with a quokka. It's known to be the happiest animal on earth. It lives in Rottnest Island off the coast of Australia. And people fly from all over the world to take selfies with the quokka. And I'd like to start with this adorable animal because it just makes me feel good to look at it. And it turns out that positive psychology is really 2 things. First, make yourself feel good. Second, make the people around you feel good, and you will feel happier, less stressed, and more resilient. And that's really all it is. So thanks. Have a great night. Like I wish that's all it was. Yeah. So when I think of all of us now, I really think of us as these penguins because they live in super harsh conditions. They don't eat for months. They live in freezing cold temperatures. Well, really, it's you, freezing cold temperatures up here. And what they do, and they don't know what's coming, you know, there's always uncertainty, just like we're all facing every day. Uncertainty, we never really know what the day is going to bring. And what they do to survive is they band together, bravely facing whatever comes their way. Turns out the #1 happiness booster is your peeps. It's people. Your friends, family, and we need them. And it turns out that the #1 factor in being resilient are people. We need people to laugh with, cry with, do fun things with, keep us safe from all of the dangers out there. We need people. #1 happiness booster. Now, let's take a minute and see, where are you on the happiness ladder? If 1 is living your worst possible life, and 10 is living your best possible life, we're not going to share this with anyone. We're in the middle of November 2024. 1, you're living your worst possible life. 10, you're living your best possible life. So just in your head, give yourself a number. And by the way, the goal of positive psychology is not to be a 10 all the time. If you were happy all the time, no one would like you. That doesn't make sense. What if your dog dies? Would you be happy? Right? What it means is to feel the full range of emotions. Now, if you had asked me this question 7 years ago, I would have said a 3, 2, -1. On the outside, you might have seen me and thought, she looks pretty happy. I had a great job. I got to help people. I made enough money to pay bills, save, and have some fun. I had a partner who was in love with me, supportive family and friends. So on the outside, you might have thought, she looks happy. But on the inside, I definitely wasn't. And the way that looked for me is I was working 10, 11-hour days. And at the end of the day, I would go home. I would lay my head on the pillow, and I would run through my day and think of all the ways I'm not good enough. Not smart enough, funny enough, thin enough, disciplined enough. Have you ever felt not good enough? Or maybe you know someone who feels not good enough. But for me, even worse than not good enough was I compared myself to other people. Jeff's a better speaker than me. They like Tom more than they like me. Sue has a bigger house, better car. Everybody else was up here, and I was down here. And Mark Twain has a great quote, which is, comparison is the death of joy. If you want to be miserable, that is a surefire path. And that's why social media, for young people, it's the comparison thing that's making them crazy, but it's true for us too. Like, I don't follow anyone on social media, my friends, because I don't care if they just put a built-in pool in or what they're having for dinner. I only follow people that inspire me and make me feel good. Comparison is the death of joy. If you want to be miserable, that really is a surefire path. And then one day I'm reading the Boston Globe, and on the front page there's an article about Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, a professor at Harvard. Raise your hand if you've heard of Harvard, way up here in Plymouth. He's teaching a class there called How to Be Happier. And he becomes famous because more students at Harvard wanted to learn how to be happy than any other subject in the history of Harvard University. And I'm reading this thinking, I want to learn how to be happier. How do I get to take that course? And fortunately, I got to study with Tal for almost a year and learn there are things you can do every day to increase your happiness. So now if you ask me where I am, I would say a 7, 8, 9 consistently. Some days I'm a 2, some days I'm a 1. And I now know how to get through the tough emotions. And I'm going to share with you the things that have worked for me over the last 7 years. Again, just see if any of them make sense for you and give it a try. If it works, keep doing it. If it doesn't, then try something else. And by the way, when Tal became famous and he was on Oprah, Good Morning America, and all the talk shows, they said to him when the cameras went off and the lights went out, Tal, we thought you'd be happier. You know why? Because he's an introvert. And we think the happy are the rah-rah, the people are jumping, but really happiness is an inside job. Really only you know how happy you are. And it doesn't mean happy all the time. It doesn't mean you got to be right? It's an inside job. And then also, by the way, he was saying when he was in the cafeteria at Harvard, they were saying, you know, now Tal, that you're the happiness expert, you better be happy all the time. People are watching. You know, and the truth is, no, we're never going to be happy all the time. Raise your hand if you felt any of these emotions in the last day, week, or month. And if your hand's not up, you're either lying or you've already tuned me out. I don't like this person. In positive psychology, we call this permission to be human. We get to feel the full range of emotions, and the idea is to feel them, not pretend we're good, I'm happy. You know, so it's like not to repress them, because when we hold things in, they're gonna come out in negative ways. You're gonna take maybe substances that deal with it, or it's like, I'm not angry, and then you blow up at someone. So the idea is to express the difficult things in positive, healthy ways. Maybe it's get outside and go for a hike in the mountains. Maybe it's writing in a journal, talk to a minister, you know, go to therapy. But to get the tough stuff out and not repress it, not keep it in. Now raise your hand if you felt any of these emotions in the last day, week, or month, right? We feel the good stuff too, but how often do we talk about the good stuff? Most of the time we talk about the negative, right? So the idea is to feel all of our emotions and share them. Share the good stuff, talk about the good stuff, talk about the hard stuff. That's one way to feel happier. Now, raise your hand if you know people who do seem to be happier all the time, and we hate them. We know these people up here. It's like my sister Michelle. Nothing bothers her. She's always happy. The door to her house is always open. You don't even have to tell her you're coming over. There's food. You can walk right in. She's always happy. Me, I'm like, oh, should I call? What time? What if it's a message? What do I say? My sister, oh my God, just call. Who cares? Always happy. Now, raise your hand if you know people who seem to be unhappy all the time. When is the next shoe gonna drop? It's probably gonna rain on my event this weekend. It turns out those people who seem to be happier all the time, they're born that way. 50% of how happy we are is genetic. It's in the DNA. There's nothing you can do to change it. Now, who has more than one kid here? Just raise your hand. Do you know this to be true? Some of your kids came out right from the get-go, laughing, smiling, sleeping through the night. The next one's crying, am I right? Right from the get-go. Right? I don't know about this one. What do we know so far? Did she get the good genes or what? Happy genes? She's pretty happy, all right. 10% of how happy we are is also unchangeable. That's the climate you were born into, the family you were born into, external circumstances we can't control or change. So 60% of how happy we are is not changeable. But the good news is that 40% of how happy we are things we can do every day to increase our happiness. So we all start with a happiness set point. Some is down here, some's here, some's here. And by doing these happiness habits, we can move our set point up. And it doesn't go back down once it's moved up. A lot of us think that we'll be happy when. And so your set point might be here, and then you think, oh, I'll be happy when I meet my soulmate and I get married. And guess what? You do get a spike in happiness. And has anybody been married for more than a year? Because you know what happens after that wedding day, right? You know, oh, I'll be happier when I get that promotion and we get it. And then it's like, we're happy for a little, and then it's like, wow, a lot more responsibility, right? Back down. When I get that dream home I've always wanted, wow, got a little spike in happiness, and then what? I gotta clean it, I got a new roof I gotta put on, right? So it goes right back down. So happiness is really an inside job. The things I share with you are things that raise your happiness set point that aren't external, they're internal, and it stays that way. Now, why does happiness matter? Sean Acor was at Harvard with Tal. If you want to learn more, his TED Talk has like 60 million views. He's amazing. He says, our brain on positive performs better than on negative, neutral, or stress. Raise your hand if that makes sense to you. Right? When we feel good, we do good. When you go to work on a Monday and you're like, ugh, Monday. freaking 5 more days of this, that comes back at you. But when we go in feeling good, right, good things come to us, or we notice good things more. When we feel good, we do good. Why does happiness matter? All the research shows that happier people, they're more productive, more creative, they make more money, they're better leaders, they're more likely to get married and stay married. Happier people have more friends, they're healthier, they live longer, they help other people more. Happier people have less stress, less trauma, less stress, less anxious, and less depressed. A happier comes first, and then we get all those benefits. Now, the founder of positive psychology is Marty Seligman out of UPenn. He was teaching and studying psychology, which many of you know is a study of what goes wrong with people. There's a book called the DSM that has hundreds of labels of things that can go wrong with people. One day, Marty Seligman comes home from work and his 6-year-old says to him, "Dad, why are you so grumpy all the time?" And he took a look at his life and thought, I am grumpy a lot of the time. So he flipped psychology, which is what goes wrong with people, to positive psychology, like what does it look like when things go well? What does it look like when people thrive even in the toughest of circumstances? You might know people who had nothing growing up and now they're successful, happy adults. You might know people who had everything growing up and now they're either addicted or no longer here. Positive psychology looks at what makes people thrive, even in the toughest of circumstances. And he labeled it, came up with this acronym, PERMA. And it's first, do things that make you feel good. And you're like, duh, who doesn't know that? But how often do we do things that make us feel good? So please just turn to the person next to you and just tell them one thing you do that makes you feel good. Go. What are you doing up here in New Hampshire? All right, because we have a limited amount of time, I have to cut you off. But I don't know if you noticed, but what I noticed when you talk about good things, I heard people laughing, some smiles out there. It feels good to talk about the good things. But how often do we do it? So what are we doing up here? Who'd like to just shout out what you do that feels good? What are you doing for fun? Skiing. Skiing? I was hoping someone would say that. Ready? Can you catch? Yeah. All right. Thanks for breaking the ice. One more. What do you do for fun?
Hiking.
Hiking, beautiful. So exercise, huge happiness booster. One of the things Paul said, he has 3 kids, 2 in high school, 1's in college, and he never said to his kids when they came home from school, what'd you do, how was your day? The first question he asked was, did you move today? Because we're born to move. We feel happiest when we're exercising, when we're hiking, skiing, moving our bodies helps us emotionally. Now, the next one is, you may have heard the term flow. That's when you're skiing, hiking, whatever you said you do that makes you feel good and you lose track of time. We need more flow. We need to do more things where we're so engaged. We love it so much. It's like, wow, a half hour went by and even read. No, we need more flow. The next one is, I already mentioned, relationships. The #1 happiness booster. We need people to laugh with, cry with, do fun things with, talk to. We need people. The next one is meaning. We need to feel like we matter. For some people, they spend their whole life thinking, why am I here? What's my purpose? I think for a lot of you as parents, grandparents, maybe it's raising happy, healthy kids. Maybe that's your purpose. Maybe your work that you chose to do has your meaning and purpose in it. But we need to feel like we matter, that what we do has a purpose, that we have a purpose. The next one, accomplishment, means we feel like we could set a goal and achieve it. We need to keep learning. A lot of times when people say, I feel stuck, I feel tired, I feel listless, it's because we keep doing the same things. Our brain likes to learn. We need to keep challenging ourselves, to keep setting goals and trying to achieve them. And knowing, especially with our kids, since you're mostly parents here, whenever you try something new, of course it's gonna be hard. Like, how would you be expected to know how to do something if you've never done it before? So really showing it by example too, fail in front of them. Try something new that's hard, because they're doing hard things all the time. Algebra, geometry, it's all hard because you never saw it before. And the same thing, if you were given something brand new to do, you wouldn't know how to do it either. You'd have to try, you'd have to fail and learn. And that helps us feel happier. We like learning new things, growing, challenging ourselves. And lastly, he added health, because you know if you don't have health, it's really everything, right? So this is positive psychology in a nutshell, but I think positive psychology is really this. Right? Everything is all in the way we look at things. Right? The same thing could happen to two different people. One is crushed by it and never recovers. The other's like, wow, that was hard. Maybe they got the help they needed, they brushed themselves off, they became stronger, and they're able to help other people through that thing now, that same thing. Everything is perspective. It's all in the way we look at things. So the challenge with positive psychology, which is really training our brain to go positive, is that every single human being is born with a negativity bias. We're hardwired to go negative. And it's because there used to be animals like this roaming around. You had to think the worst was going to happen because you'd be killed. But they're not here anymore. But our brain is always, they say we have 70,000 thoughts a day, and 85% of them are negative. That's that voice in your head. I'm not good enough. She's better than me. Right? It's like this. Something good happens, and we're like, that was good. Something bad happens, and it's like Velcro. Some of us are hanging on to negative things that happened to us weeks ago. Some of us are hanging on to negative things that happened to us years ago. Some of us are hanging on to negative things that happened to us when we were kids. It's like Velcro for the negative, and the good, it's like, good. So positive psychology is training that voice in our head to go positive. Not all the time, but maybe a little more of the time. So it's, let's give this a try. What's your voice in your head saying when you see this word? Alright, let's put it, I heard shoveling, I heard skiing. How many, the first thing you thought of was a negative? Shoveling, cold, dark. How about a positive? Well, you're in New Hampshire, so that's kind of skewed, right? So, how about this one? First thing that comes into your head.
Christmas.
Happy Christmas, planning, I heard.
Eating.
Eating. All right, whose was a positive? All right, we hate you. Just kidding. All right, whose is negative? The stress, the hassle. All right. So here's the thing. It's not an event that makes us happy or unhappy. It's what we say about that event. So again, the same thing. The holidays, winter, same thing. But two different people could say two completely different things about it. One loves it for all the reasons, and one's like, ugh, for all the reasons. So could we be happier just by changing our thoughts about the thing? Just a thought. Now again, some of these you're like, that's too hard. This isn't my thing. So remember, you're only looking for one thing that you're like, oh, that makes sense. I'm going to try that out and see if it makes me feel happier. And if it does, keep doing it. If it doesn't, there'll be other ones. So this one might not be for you. So see if you can see two different images in this illusion. Positive psychology is a shift in perception. It's the idea that we can force ourselves to think and act in ways that are more helpful to us. But it doesn't come naturally. It takes effort, it takes hard work, it takes discipline, it takes effort to override the inherent innate negativity. All right, anybody like professional college sports, the Olympics? You like watching it, playing any sports? If you've watched any sport, you know that they are constantly celebrating themselves. Guy scores a touchdown, he's got his dance, he's got his handshakes, It's, they're patting each other on the. I don't recommend that in your work. This isn't your workplace that you're going to try out. Okay, right? They constantly celebrate themselves and each other, and they're the best in the world at what they do. How often do we celebrate our wins in a day? So as you check out this video, I'd love it if you can just see if one of the physical moves these athletes do resonates with you. Check it out. Right? It's like, my kids did their homework. Yes! The teacher likes my kid. I got through my to-do list. What if you come home as a family and dance at the end of the day? Another great day, folks, friends, family. End of the day, your family comes home, you jump on each other. How was your day? What'd you do? Signature move. Hugs are happiness booster. I got a raise. I'm making these up. The baby slept through the night. I can't watch that one the same way anymore. All right, folks. Now it's your turn. I'd love it if you could turn to the person next to you and just tell them a recent win. Could be something at work, could be something personal in your relationship with your kids, with your family. Turn to them and just tell them a recent win, and then seal it in with one of these motions. Whichever one. It could be, this, get up and dance. Tell them a win and lock it in with a movement. Go. Say one. Would anyone like to share a recent win with the whole group? Anyone have one they'd like to share? All right, that shut everyone up right there. That's a little too scary. You have one?
Yeah, I got my.
Hold on.
I got my son to Dartmouth today and then got back in time to ride here with my wife.
What's your move? Yes. All right, thank you. All right, so this is a happiness booster, celebrating your wins and the wins of the people around you. If you like this one, then it doesn't mean like now you're going to go around bragging like, oh, I did this, woo, woo. But to yourself at the minimum, right? Celebrate your own wins, and by you doing a physical move, it locks it in. So the move releases feel-good chemicals in your brain, oxytocin, dopamine. Our brain actually likes to feel good, so it then starts looking for other wins to celebrate. So again, you're telling it to yourself, and then you lock it in with your new move, and also start noticing the wins around you and celebrating those wins with your family and with your co-workers and your friends. So we're going to talk a little bit about resilience because we need it. Everybody already has it, You always hear resilience as bounce back from a tough thing, and I don't really like that definition because to me it sounds like quick, and I don't know, how fast does it take to get over a really hard thing that happened? I like this definition, which is to adapt to stress, trauma, loss, whatever it is, healthfully, to make wise decisions in the toughest situations. So please, raise your hand if you've ever lost someone you truly loved. If you've ever been through a bitter divorce, if you've ever been cheated on, raise your hand if you've ever had your heart broken. Raise your hand if you've ever been rejected. Raise your hand, please, if you've ever been bullied, lost a job, worried about money. If you or someone you know had a miscarriage or struggled with infertility. Raise your hand if you or someone you love has had to cope with mental illness, dementia, addiction, suicide, physical or emotional abuse. And if you looked around, and it doesn't matter what size audience I'm in, usually every single person's had at least one or more of those things happen to them, which means you're already resilient. You've already adapted to a stress, trauma, or difficult situation, healthfully because you're still here. And if you think what you raised your hand for, I guarantee 100% you're still here because somebody helped you through that thing. You got a difficult medical diagnosis, you didn't get through that alone. Your doctor, your friend, people helped you. When I was cheated on, I went to my friend Maya's house and I was crying, put my head on her lap, just cry. She didn't try to fix it. She just stroked my head, let me cry. We get through these tough things because of other people, and that's why more than anything, with our own kids, if they're going through something hard, with ourselves, we're going through something tough, we need our people. We need our communities to help us get through the toughest times, and to be vulnerable and brave enough to ask for help when we need it. Because otherwise, we're going to get through using other not so healthy methods, I would say, right? So, resilience is really just asking this question to ourselves. What is it that I can do differently to change the situation? Whatever hard thing, if it's something at work, if it's something in our relationship, something with our families, asking the question, what is it that I can do to change or improve the situation? Instead of saying what we are really hardwired to is, if only that person would change, then I'd be happier. If only my kid didn't have that teacher, things would be great. If only I didn't have this boss, I'd be so much happier, this coworker. Expecting other people to change, not really a good way to get to happiness, but instead asking, what is it that I can do to improve the situation? And that's taking personal responsibility. So it's kind of like this, given how it is, no matter what it is, personal, professional, in your families, your relationship, what is the next best thing I can do to improve the situation? That's resilience. That's a whole workshop. I'm giving you a little touch of that one. Next happiness booster is 3 good things. This is the one thing that completely changed my life. Took me from a 3, 2, 1 on the happiness ladder to a 7, 8, 9 consistently every night for the last 7 years. Before I go to sleep, I write down at least 3 good things that happened in the last 24 hours. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 7. You don't have to stop at 3, but you run through your day and you just say, what was good today? And I'll tell you, some days I'm like, was today good? And I'm not feeling happier. And then I look back, I'm like, oh, I totally forgot. I got a card from my friend with pictures from high school of us. Totally unexpected. But when we look back, we see the good things in the day. So I want to share some of my good things. This is a picture a 10-year-old drew of me in the Boston Public Schools. She wrote, Miss Garamone, great, exclamation point, cool, funny, beautiful, kind, from Aurora. And I always put this in my slide deck because it just makes me feel good that this 10-year-old thought these really nice things about me. Remember I said positive psychology first, make yourself feel good? But is my head really that big? I often wonder, how kids can see things like ego. I'm not really sure what she saw. And And then I was doing a faculty training in the Bedford Public Schools, and a teacher drew this picture of me, Pam, just as great, exclamation point, still cool, motivating, funny, fantastic to be with. And I like to put this in my slide deck because Sean Acor says we are all starving to feel seen, valued, and appreciated. And it's so easy to make someone's day. Notice their strengths in context. Compliment people. It'll make you feel good and it makes the receiver feel good. But at the end of a lot of talks, people do come up to me and they're like, oh, that was good, that was great, thank you. And I'll tell you, that does feel good for a few seconds. But what feels lastingly good, like 2019, that still feels good, is when you are praising your own kids, your coworkers, your employees, not to say, good job, but to tell them their strengths in context. So this person thought it was funny. She thought it was motivating. That feels lastingly good. Not only that, it's like you have this superhero power. When you tell someone one of their strengths, it props them up, it makes them feel good. Oh, I'm funny. And then they want to live into that label you gave them, right? I'm funny. I'm going to try to look for ways to be funny. So think of this as a superhero power with your own kids. What do you want them to be a little bit more of? Catch them doing that thing. In teaching, we call it catch them doing good. You've recognize, oh, I love how organized you are, how on time you are, how you finished your homework. That took a lot of discipline. Oh, I'm disciplined. Props them up, makes them feel a little bit good, right? And then they look for ways to live into that strength. So telling people their strengths in context. Watching cute videos is a happiness booster. Check it out. Watching cute videos is a happiness booster. When you share them with other people, gives them a little hit of happiness as well. Did anyone's negativity bias kick in?
Yeah.
Hope she's okay. That thing must weigh a ton. Right? It's not right or wrong. It's just noticing when the negative thoughts come in instead of just enjoying it. You know, it's not right or wrong, but just noticing. You will all be in my journal tonight. It will say I was up in Plymouth, New Hampshire. They laughed at all my jokes. And I always put, I never really know unless people send me an email that at least one person in this audience is going to try out one of these things, feel a little happier, and then spread that happier to folks around them. Now, you are going to, oh, I left out my joke. I had 2 pairs, and I was going to say pair up. I missed that slide. But it does give me a chance to say something that Tal used to say all the time. The professor at Harvard used to say, fail often and fail big. And when you fail, like I forgot to add that slide, just say, how fascinating. Yeah, how fascinating, big deal. Or should I say big, no, I won't swear. How fascinating, what can I learn from this, right? Like, and it's great, especially as parents, grandparents, to model failing to your young people in your life. Make it okay to fail. It's not a big deal. That's how we learn and grow. If everything we already knew how to do, we would just stay the same all the time. We would never grow. This is Paul, the professor I mentioned. He says, when we appreciate the good appreciates. The more we start looking for good things in our day, the more good things you'll start to see. They are always there. And it doesn't mean hard things aren't happening. Of course they are. And at the same time, hard things are happening, there's always something good. You could choose to notice if you wanted to. All right. So, actually, let's just back up for a minute and just turn to the person, what's today? Thursday? Turn to the person next to you and just tell them one good thing that's happened to you in the last 24 hours. One good thing. I mean, I already had a free dinner. Free food. One good thing. All right, folks. Sorry. At least one of you got to share one good thing. It's crushing me to cut you off. I don't know if you noticed though, but what I noticed when you start talking about good things, I saw people smiling, laughing, and it feels good to talk about the good things, but how often do we do it? So, tell me something good. Who has something good they'd like to share? Yay, daughter and I, we're here together. So people, whoa, number one happy. All right, what else? Who else has something good they'd like to share? One more, let's go. New Hampshire, what do you have? And that probably felt good, so good. What do you have?
I keep making, started making sourdough bread, and I keep making the best loaf ever.
So she started making sourdough bread, and the more you do it, the better they get. That's called a growth mindset right there. The more you do a thing, the better we get at it. So remember I said 3 different hats. If you like this one, then you're getting either the dollar journal, or I made a journal for folks if you want to do the a little fancier. If it's your habit, you're putting it by your bed with a pen, and every night you just go through your day and think what was good, and write down at least 3 good things. If it's in your personal relationships, my friend Sharon and I, she moved to St. Pete. Every morning we walk and talk, the first thing we do is say, tell me 3 good things. Some days Sharon's like, I got nothing. Some days I'm like, slim pickings. But we always start with the good stuff. And again, doesn't mean hard things are happening. We also get to the tough stuff, but we start with the good stuff. My friend Jeff, same thing. Tell me 3 good things. With your own kids, maybe now you're like, how was your day? What's the most common answer? Good. What'd you do? Nothing. Right? But what if you said instead, tell me 3 good things that happened. What made you laugh today? What made you smile today? And you model it. You tell the good things that happened so they can see there's something that we can do as a family that will help us to recognize and appreciate the good things. If it's at work, maybe you start out your meetings by sharing something good. Or with your coworker. First thing you come in the office, you're like, tell me something good, please, right? So you start with the good stuff. All right, next thing, this is the second thing that completely changed my life from a 3-2-1 happiness ladder to 7-8-9 consistently. It's called I am. What it is whatever follows the words I am, our brain tries to make true and our body listens. I'll say that again. Whatever follows our I am, our brain tries to make it true, our body listens. So see if it makes sense to you. I'm not flexible. Has anybody ever said or heard somebody say, I don't go to yoga because I'm not flexible? Anyone? Do they have yoga up here? Right? So you can see it's a little twisty, but if you think about it, if you never go to yoga, your brain's like, oh, you're not flexible. Well, we're not going to yoga then, and guess what? You are not flexible. Right? How about this one? I'm starving. Your brain will start enforcing you, looking for food. You know, your body listens. You're grumbling in the stomach. You might get hangry, if anybody knows what that means. Right? Your brain makes it true. Your body listens. What about this? I'm so stressed. Your brain's like, oh, you want to be stressed? You're stressed? I'll give you a whole list of reasons to be stressed. You've got to get that work project done. The kids aren't doing their homework. Blah, blah. It'll just give you a whole list. And your body will listen, your heart racing, sweaty palms, squigglies in the stomach, right? How about this one? I'm so tired. Yeah, your brain's like, yeah, you should be. And it'll give you a whole list of reasons you should be tired. You're working too hard, there's too much, I gotta shop, I gotta prepare for the holidays, I got that. And your body listens, you start yawning, you feel heavy, you make the people around you feel tired, you're looking for a place to put your head. Whatever follows I am, your brain will make it true and your body listens. So you want to just notice what follows your I am and see if you can flip it. Not all the time, but maybe a little more of the time. So I'm so stressed. We usually stress when things are challenging or hard. So maybe it's like I'm excited, I am capable, right? I am
Ready.
What?
I'm ready.
I am ready. Fabulous, right?
SpongeBob.
I'm so tired, maybe that becomes I am vibrant, I am energized, I am getting a second wind. You know, just saying those words, I can feel it in my body. It's a completely different feeling. I'm starving, just go get some food. So before every talk I give, I have an I am statement, and this is it. I am upbeat, positive, optimistic, happy, friendly, funny, intelligent, articulate, confident, inspiring, passionate, encouraging, and approachable. Thank you. It doesn't mean I'm already those things. It means I'm telling my brain, this is how I need to show up to be my best. If you have kids, they got to go do a speech, and you're giving them the I ams. I am capable, I am prepared, I am ready, I got this, instead of, oh, I'm so scared, I am so nervous. Completely different feeling for us and the people around us. So you give it a try, again, see if it works. So this was at a student high school leadership conference. We asked young people, what do you want to see in the adults in the school? But I think it applies here, the adults around you. So these are the characteristics they wrote down they want to see in the adults around them. And then we gave them 3 stickies to put in the top 3 characteristics they want to see in the adults around them. The top 3 were passionate, approachable, and encouraging. Does that make sense to you as parents? In your workplace, in your partnerships, I am passionate, I am approachable, I am encouraging. Whatever you want to be a little bit more of. Say you have a difficult conversation with an employee or a partner or a kid. Whatever you want to show up as, that's what follows your I am. I am empathetic, compassionate, a good listener. I am kind. Whatever it is you want to show up as, that's what follows your I am. Your brain listens, your brain makes it true, your body listens. Raise your hand if that makes sense to you at all. All right, so you're only looking for one thing. Relationships, I've said, is the #1 happiness booster. I love this quote by Toni Morrison. When a child walks in a room, does your face light up? Or are you like, did you do your homework? Did you clean your room? Did you pull up your pants? Did you eat your lunch? What if your kids aren't here, or say your partner's not here, what if you were like, you have your partners at home, you're like, Bob, it's been 4 hours since I've seen you! Or your own kids, you go home and you're like, Susie, it's been 3 hours since I've seen you. Light up. Remember I said, Sean Aker said, we're starving to feel seen, valued, and appreciated. It's so easy, just light up. You know, light up. It feels good when somebody's excited to see us. Maybe we should be more like our dogs. Doesn't that feel good? Right? A little bit more. Not all the time, remember, just some of the time. All right, so the last thing I want to share with you, everything I've shared with you so far, super hard because it's mental. 3 good things, I am, praising, giving compliments, noticing people's strengths. It takes effort, it takes hard work, practice, and discipline. But this part of the talk, These are physical things you could choose to do that will instantly change your thoughts and your feelings. Physical things you could choose to do that will instantly change your thoughts and change your feelings. Some of you might be skeptical. Now, it turns out really that just having this look of skepticism on your face, this physical act, shuts your brain down. You might be like, I liked her up until this, made sense, but now she's gone off the rails. This is ridiculous. Physical things I could do that would make me instantly feel good. You know? Just the putting that look on your face, your brain shuts down. It's like you're here physically, you won't remember a single thing from this point on. Because you're like, nah, and it shuts down. You're not taking it in. But if you put a look of awe on your face and you say the word wow, let's just try that for a second. Everyone in here put a look of awe, a wow look, and just say wow. Ready? Wow. Can you feel it? Can you feel your brain like, wait, what? Wait, what's coming? I need to listen to this. This got to be important. What can I learn? Some of you might be familiar with Amy Cuddy out of Harvard Business School. She's a top 5 TED Talk. I don't know, 80 million views, whatever she's up to. If you want to learn more, watch it. She found out that how we hold our bodies makes a difference in how we feel. She called it power poses, and she found that if you hold your body and make yourself bigger, take up a lot of space, a high power pose for 2 minutes before an important event, you're more likely to succeed. So some of the things, like if you have a first date, she found that if the person did a power pose before the date, they're more likely to be liked. Keyword there is before. You don't show up at the date like me. Okay. Job interviews, people who did power poses before the job interview were more likely to be hired. Again, before, you don't show up to your interviewer, oh hey, hire me. And the reason is it makes us more confident when we put ourselves in high power pose positions. So let's give it a try. Please stand up. This is called the victory pose. Make yourself as big as possible. Take up a lot of space. Crawl up. You're going to do this for 2 minutes. Before anything, you need to feel confident or feel more powerful. Look how amazing you look. I love it. All right, you can have a seat because you can also do them seated. These are seated high power poses. The one on the right is also known as man spreading, which, by the way, is against the law, illegal on the New York City subways. And you might think, what? Now, why would it be against the law to sit like that? Does anybody want to say? Taking up too much space, right? In a high power pose, you make yourself bigger. And animals do the same thing. When animals want to appear powerful, they make themselves bigger. When animals want to attract a mate, they make themselves bigger. This is a frigate bird, the male on the right. When it wants to attract a female, it makes its throat 20 times bigger than the shape of a heart, and the female's like, wow, confident. I like that. And he gets his mate. In sports, you see high power poses all the time. It's putting your body in a peak performance state, so your brain is in a peak performance state. I don't know if you're Red Sox fans up here, the famous Benintendi World Series catch. This is a high power pose, and so is this. And I like to do this just for fun, because they're called high power poses. You want to score the winning goal, look at that body. It's putting your body in a peak performance state, so your brain is in a peak performance state. The opposite of a high power pose is a low power pose. This is when you make yourself smaller. You tighten up. It's like, don't look at me. And not only will you instantly feel differently, sad, depressed, low energy, but people see you differently by the way you hold your bodies. These are low power poses. If your kids come home and they're sitting like this, something ain't right. You know, this is a time to say, what's going on? Because not only do they feel powerless, depressed, low energy, but you see them that way. So they're noticing low power poses. And animals do the same thing. When they're sad, they make themselves smaller. Don't look at me. This is the highest power pose you can possibly put yourself in. It's called the victory pose. So please, Plymouth, New Hampshire, stand up and make yourself as big as possible. And I'm going to get a picture of you. Let's see you in your highest power pose position. This is going viral. This is the one. This is the one. Yes. Woo. And you do it for how long? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And I see it in sports all the time. And animals do the same thing when they're super psyched. So if you like this one, again, thinking of anything difficult conversation, maybe you have a parent-teacher conference, you're a little nervous to go. Again, not in front of the teacher. You go to the bathroom, do your power pose, do your I am statement, however you want to show up as, a good listener, empathetic, compassionate, kind, and then you tell yourself that. All right, next one. Clapping is a happiness booster. Turns out there are feel-good chemicals at the end of our fingertips that release feel-good nerve endings that release the feel-good chemicals in our brain. So please turn to the person next to you and just clap for them. Bonus points if you make eye contact. Now, if this is your new happiness booster in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, Pam, looking good, let's go. Your kiddos, let's go, let's make it the best day ever. Go to work, hey, colleague, nice to see you. Clapping, happiness booster. High five, same thing. Happiness booster, give the people around you a high five. See if it gives you a little bit of happiness. There we go. Bonus points when you make eye contact. If it's your own personal habit, you're looking in the mirror in the morning, Pam, looking good. High five. Kiddos, let's go. Let's make it a great day. Get to work. High fives. Can you believe they do research on this? University of Michigan study shows when we're doing 2 thumbs up, whoever we're looking at when we do it, our brain takes in as a positive. So please turn to the people next to you and just give them 2 thumbs up. Little hit of happiness. All right, again, you're in the mirror, looking good, man. High five, kiddos. 2 thumbs up. Make it a great day. All right, taking a deep breath is a happiness booster. Let's give it a try. Take a deep breath in. A deep breath says, I am safe, I am capable, I am calm, I got this. What if, from this day forward, if you like this one, every stoplight on your way into work, it's take a deep breath. Every doorway you go through, take a deep breath. I am safe, I am calm. Smiling is a happiness booster. Turn to the person next to you. Just give them the biggest fake smile you've ever done. You can't be unhappy and smiling at the same time. It's impossible. Research shows kiddos laugh smile. Oh, I'm jumping ahead. How fascinating. Let's get to the next one. Laughing. Stress reliever. We need to laugh more, people. It feels good to laugh. Research shows little kids laugh 400 times a day. What do you think of research showed adults laugh? How many times a day? Just shout it out.
4 or 5.
I heard 3, 5, 9, 2. The answer is 4. I don't know how they do this research, but would you agree that probably kids laugh more than adults? I mean, probably. So, laughing. Here's something you could try at home if you have more than 3 or 4 people at home, or if it was a party. How about at Thanksgiving? Give this a try. Everyone lays on the floor on their back. They're looking up, right? And their eyes are closed. And each person has their head on the other person's stomach. And you've done it, I see some nods. And then somebody and everyone just starts fake laughing. And it's contagious, it's going to turn real, and if your family doesn't start laughing, therapy might be in store. Might get good back. It's It's just laughter is contagious. We love people who make us laugh because it feels good. Right? It feels good. Do you have laughter yoga out here? Have you heard of that? Laughter yoga? You can look it up online. It started in India. It's in every country around the world now. It's fake laugh until it becomes real. You can go online and just watch people laughing, and it's contagious. You're going to start laughing too. And if you want to try this at home, sometimes we do it here, but it might be a little much for tonight. But you just start fake laughing, and eventually it turns real. It's the best ab workout you'll ever have, because for 45 minutes, you just laughing. That's amazing. All right, we're going to end with gratitude. Everybody knows gratitude is happiness booster, but how many of us have a practice of gratitude? So I already mentioned that I write down at least 3 good things every night, and after that I write 5 things I'm grateful for. If you've ever tried a gratitude list and you didn't feel any boost in happiness, it's probably because you did this. I'm so grateful for my friends, job, family, car, home, food. No increase in happiness. When you do a gratitude list, you want to be specific, and as you're writing it, you're feeling it. You know, so it might be something like, the other night I was in Boston and I was over the meter and I didn't get a ticket. 40 bucks saved. So grateful for that. That's how you do it, specific and with feeling, and that's the biggest boost. So unbelievable amounts of research on this. People who practice gratitude, they're all these benefits: happier, more spiritual, more forgiving, less neurotic, less lonely, less anxious, just by looking around and noticing how much we already have. There's tons. You could Google it, go to Pinterest. You'll see hundreds of ways to practice gratitude. Just pick one. Give it a try. This is Sean Acor, I mentioned, was at Harvard College. His gratitude practice is every morning before each morning he writes and sends a text message or email praising or thanking someone in his life. He said, of all the positive habits I have, this is the most powerful one. Most of us, within 6 seconds of opening our eyes, before we even look at the person lying next to us, we are doom scrolling. But what if instead you text or sent an email message to someone praising or thanking them? He said, of all the positive habits I have, this is the most powerful one. Friends, these are all the things I talked about. You can take a picture of it. The whole idea is not to know them, but to pick one, try it out. See if you can make it part of your identity. Who you are and what you do, you wouldn't even think of not doing this every day. Or in your personal relationships, or maybe there's something here you're going to institute in the workplace. I'll end with this quote by Paul, you always hear people say, oh, things happen for the best. And he said, no, things don't always happen for the best. But we can choose to make the best of things that happen to us. So, CADY group, New Hampshire, I just want to say thank you. We're super fun to have as an audience. I sincerely hope that learning a little bit about positive psychology and how to feel a little happier made you feel a little bit happier, and that you spread that happier to the people around you. So thank you so much for coming out tonight, for playing along with all of this, for laughing at all my jokes. And I'm happy to stick around. I don't know if we have time for questions right now, or if do we? First of all, laughing is a happiness booster for the giver and the receiver. So sometimes you laugh. Does anybody have a question? Anybody want to ask a question? I'll tell you what the most common question that people ask me is. It's almost always a woman who comes up to me at the end and says, I got the happy genes, I'm really happy, but my husband should have been here, or my teenage son, or my teenage daughter, they should have been here. How do I make them happier? That's the #1 question I get, and the answer is, you can't. You can't can't make somebody else happier because it's an inside job, but you can influence other people, right? And so one of the success story I can share with you is a woman, she came up to me and said, my husband should have been here, he's the negative genes, and he gave them to our teenage daughter. And I'm like, I always wonder how these women who are so happy attract grumps, negative men. She said, well, he's a good, I asked her, she's like, he's a really good person. Anyway, what she did is she got her husband, and the teenage daughter was going off to freshman year of college, and she told me 3 months later that every day the father and the daughter write text three good things to each other. They did it for 3 months. That's when I saw her, she told me. She said, you could not believe the change in them. And I was giving a talk at Boston Children's Museum, and she's on the board there, and she told that story to hundreds of people who were at this gala. She said it was unbelievable. Just by texting each other every day, 3 good things, completely changed. So you can't change somebody, but you can influence them by your behaviors, by modeling some of these things in front of your partners, co-workers, kiddos. All right, so I'll stick around if you have any other questions. I'll be here. Thank you so much, Liz, and thank all of you
Okay. Wow. That was for real. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. So we're gonna quickly just transition really quick. I promise I will not bum you guys out like the beginning. Okay. So just gotta get that stuff done. So I'm going to get back into here. So thank you, Pam. Look at you. Look at how happy you are. I love it. I haven't smiled that hard in a very long time, so thank you so much. All right, so Pam did say a little bit about finding the good things that are around us. So just to reiterate that, glimmers. There is something about glimmers. Have you anybody heard about this? I posted this on Facebook like a year ago, so you may have seen this. But today I learned about the term called glimmer, which is the opposite of a trigger. Glimmers are those moments in your day that make you feel joy, happiness, peace, or gratitude. Once you train your brain to be on the lookout for glimmers, these tiny moments will appear more and more. And that's exactly, you are a glimmer, Pam. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, one more thing, the way to receive a compliment is not our typical way, which, oh no, it was nothing, we diss it or dismiss it. Try this, the next time someone gives you a compliment, put your hand over your heart, look them in the eye and just say, thank you.
Thank you.
Pause and don't say anything.
I love that. I love that. All right, for our closing, I'd like to invite CADY's Executive Director, Deb Narrow, up here to introduce a very special video. Oops, I'll send that to you.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you, Pam. That was my second time hearing Pam, and it was better than the first time, believe it or not. It just doesn't get old. So I want to show this short video, but before I do, I want to show you this little book. It's called Life's Little Instruction Booklet by H. Jackson Brown Jr. And I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but this is volume 3. It has so many wonderful parenting insights from those that have traveled down that road successfully. We all need, it's the hardest job any of us will ever have. And the more insights and support we get from others, all the better. And this little video reminds me of, Tim and I use this when we were raising our kids, and this right here, to help your children turn out well, spend twice as much time with them and half as much money. And that's kind of what, I saw this video today, and it reminded me of this, so I had to run home and pull it out and do a little infomercial. So Liz, I need you to stop the video, please. Sorry.
To help protect from HIV,
Thank you, Joe. Wow! That's fantastic!
Down in the corner, skip. Hit the skip button.
Is not the one who gives the most money, not the one who gives the most toys, not the one who gives the best place to live. A great parent is the one who gives attention. To be a great parent, all you need to do is be present with your child. Not give presents, be present. That's all kids really want. They want you to notice them, to be loved, to be wanted. The best parent is the one whose eyes light up when their child enters a room. The parent who makes a promise to love unconditionally. The parent who leads by example. Not by what you say, but by what you do. Kids will never pay attention to your words. They will always and only pay attention to your actions and your intentions. A great parent works on themselves. A great parent makes their own mind strong, knowing their kids will likely follow in their footsteps. Heal yourself. Make your own mind strong, so your children can see the clearest example of what a great life looks like. Setting a clear and strong example of what type of human being you want your kids to become starts with you. It's up to you to set the example of kindness and compassion toward others. To set the example of what it is like to be yourself. To set the example of living a magical life that you choose. That's what a great parent does. Set their child free. Allow them to be themselves. Allow them to make their own decisions. Live your life in such a way that when your kids think of kindness, compassion, strength, authenticity, and real joy, they think of you. A great parent knows not to allow anything in their life they don't want their children to reproduce in their lives. That includes toxic relationships. That includes bad habits. That includes making decisions based on fear. A great parent listens. They don't lecture. A great parent supports, never shames. A great parent guides and sets free. Being a parent is not a job. It's a privilege. Being a parent is not a burden. It's a blessing. They are always watching. What kind of role model will you be for your children?
Thank you, Liz. A second piece of advice from Brown's little book is ask yourself if what you're doing today is getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow. Hopefully some of the strategies that Pam shared with us tonight, you will actually put into practice. And it's going to strengthen all of us as individuals and also as parents. And feeling more positive, I hope, when you leave tonight, happier. And I'm going to take the 3 good things home with me tonight, Pam. And Tim and I are going to put that into action, so thank you for that. And let's see. Oops. Sorry there. So what we really all need to be doing is acting. What we're doing, are we making a difference? Absolutely, high yes to that. And thank you all for being with us this evening, for making a difference in the lives of each other. Thank you, Pam. You really helped to move the needle there, and especially in the lives of our children and our community. I want to thank Liz and her team, CADY staff, Ann, Allison, Cheryl, Bree, and Jack. They're all here tonight. And they're the well-oiled machine. They always get it done. So proud of you, all of you, for another amazing shout out. Let's see. If you haven't already filled out your evaluation, if you just take a couple of minutes to do that, we would be so appreciative because that really helps us to inform programming. You know, as if there's some hot topic that you really want to know about for next year, if you could write that down, then we'll do some work on that and hopefully move in that direction. So I would like to now invite Jenny, Amy, and Sarah up because they're going to pick the winners and deliver you those beautiful baskets.